Welcome to Tesmon Show with your host, Dr. Robert Osoro at Romy TV Africa. I'm telling you, this is your favorite show at Romy TV Africa. Remember, it is about what is your story. This is where you share your story. This is where you are welcome. This is the place that where we cater your feelings. And today, in this show, I'm joined with another guest. I'm telling you, the show itself is a big show in the bench. We are in the bench, coming to you. Wherever you are, just go to our social media platforms, like, subscribe for us, tell us where you are watching us from. Keep tweeting at Romy TV Africa, Dr.Robert Osoro. Send your questions, send your texts, and we are here. We do. Without wasting time, allow me to introduce my guest. But our guest today, she's here with me, and she has walked a journey. She's a bold woman, a strong woman. I'm telling you, they're women and they're women. She's one of the strongest women. She will tell you her journey, how she has been living with HIV positive, and that has been in part of her life, and she has been part of the life, and that has not limited her from her dreams and visions. And she's here with me. She'll be sharing her story at Tesmon Show. What is your story? With Dr. Robert Osoro at Romy TV Africa. Keep following us, keep watching us as we bring you the story. Wairimo.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm telling you, it has been long. We have been talking, we have been planning for this show, but finally we are met.
Yeah, finally.
So, it has been a long journey.
It is.
You are a strong woman.
Yeah, I am.
And today you are in our cameras at Romy TV Africa.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Susan, you know, she's known as Susan Wairimo Meta, A.K.
Nyarasembo.
Nyarasembo. She's here. Atatuambia ilitoka wapi. Nyarasembo. Maybe there is someone that who is watching you for the first time ever,
Yes.
has never seen you before, maybe has never heard your story. I know that you have a story.
Yeah.
You have shared your story properly, you have shared everywhere, but still we say that every day is a new dawn,
Yes.
is a new beginning. Maybe looking at camera too, you can maybe introduce yourself, tell us your names, how, where you are born, maybe school or raised up, for somebody watching you for the first time ever.
Sure. So, my name is Susan Wairimo Meta, also known as Nyarasembo on the social streets. I'm an activist, I'm also an advocate, and a professional trained counselor dealing with HIV/AIDS. I'm 40, turning 41 in a month. I was born in Nairobi, but raised in Nakuru. I schooled in Nakuru, and then I came back to Nairobi. Yeah, and I went to St. Joseph's Primary School in Nakuru, and high school I went to St. Anne's in Nakuru, and there whereby I came, after high school, I came to Nairobi, and I joined Graffin's College, and I did a diploma in business management, but I never got to practice that. I ventured into the hotel industry. Yeah.
Wow, so you are an hotelier.
Yes, retired hotelier, that is.
What do you mean by saying a retired hotelier?
Around 2018, after I got very sick and I tested positive in 2019, I had to take time off and heal, and I decided just to stop being a hotelier and venture into other things.
Okay.
So I'm no longer a hotelier. I'm not doing anything to do with hotel management and stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, now Susan, you are telling us your story about you were raised here, born here in
Yes.
Kitengela,
Yeah.
but you schooled in Nakuru.
Yeah, I was actually born in Nairobi,
You were born in Nairobi.
in Uthiru, that is in Kabete. So, and then at 3 years, we went to Nakuru, where I grew up. I went to Arap Moi Children's Home Nursery School, that was owned by the former president. And then I went to St. Joseph's Primary School, which is a Catholic school. And then I went to St. Anne Girls High School, but in Nakuru, in a place called Lanet. Then I came to Nairobi, and we moved. Actually, my parents moved to Kitengela around 2008, but personally, I moved to Kitengela in 2014.
Okay. So you
Yes.
have been in this city for the almost 8 years now.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I've heard your story before sharing, and I say that we also need to feature your story because there's someone that who needs to hear this story. There's someone that who needs to be encouraged.
Yes.
Maybe when we talk about people when they hear activists like HIV activists, all people need to understand those terms, what it means,
Yes.
how it is working before we come to the story.
So, an activist or an advocate, and I'm going to speak into relation to HIV/AIDS, is somebody who goes out as a voice for others, either to inspire, encourage, or speak on matters that are affecting like us people living with HIV. Like I will go on my Facebook page, on my Instagram page, on my YouTube channel, and I'll speak a lot about sensitization and creating awareness, because you realize even in this era, as much as people are educated, most people are still not sensitized about HIV. Yes, and there's a lot of stigma even up to right now. So being an activist and an advocate, my work is going basically on daily basis, like on Facebook and Instagram. I have to post, I have to teach people on how to protect themselves. I have to teach people on how to go and test and, accept, move on, modes of prevention and, self-acceptance and self-love.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I say that from the beginning that she's a strong woman and she's here. There's someone that go, maybe you are feeling like the world has ended for you, but I'm telling you that there is a future. And she's here to tell you today that there is a future, there is a beginning, there is a new life. After all, we are all living for a better life. Now, when we start Nyari Assemble, so how did this name Nyari Assemble came?
From high school, and also, most funny enough, most of my friends are Luos. I tend to blend very well with them. So they normally tell me I have this attitude of a Luo woman, and I look like ladies from Asembo. So it started like a joke, Nyarasembo, Nyarasembo,
So
Nyarasembo.
Assemble is a specific place
Apparently, Nyar means from.
from.
Now, Asembo, it's up. You have to go to Asembo one time, one day. Yes.
To know the exact place, how is it?
I have to go and see the place.
Wow,
I
I'm
hear it's a
telling you,
beautiful place.
it's a beautiful place.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
it should be. It should be.
Yeah.
Now, let's come back to our story.
Yeah.
We were learning your story on how you schooled, on how you came up to your profession, though you talked about 2018, 2019,
Yes.
when you got out of your profession due to when you tested like positive and all.
Yeah.
But now, let's start from here, this story. Before we go, like, tested all, something like that, we need to know, like, were you born like that? Is it something that you knew? Is it something that which you came to knew maybe when you were sick, or is you just by choice, let me go and test? You are in a marriage. Is it a marriage that was not working? Is it a relationship that was not working, or had a lot of infidelity until you decided to go and test? But now, all in that, remember we are at Romy TV Africa with your host, Dr. Robert Osoro, at Desmond Show. What is your story at Rom TV Africa? You can send us your message, send us your texts. Tell us where you are watching us from at Rom TV Africa. But we are going for a short break. After this short break, we are coming back and we shall be hearing her story of a new life, how she adapted, how she got infected, or how she came to know about that, about her status at Rom TV Africa. Dr. Robert Osoro, we are coming back to you after short break. But this is Dr. Robert Osoro at Rom TV Africa. As I told you when we went for a short break, that we shall be hearing our story of Nyari Assemble. She's here today and she's telling us her life story, how she got to infected to HIV positive and how she has been living, how she adapted, changing her life status from negative to positive, and what are the precautions to someone that goes new to this. Nyari Assemble.
Yes.
I'm telling you, Kisumu, you must come there. Kisumu, we are Luos, bwana.
But do I say?
Eh? I'm telling you. Kuro inyo the Luo.
Kidogo kidogo tu.
Kidogo,
Ile
kidogo.
ya kuomba maji.
Ugali.
Yes.
Ah, that's good. So now, there is this story that now we went a break when you had decided now to change the career. But now before you change the career, this time you are working. We want to hear your story
Okay.
on how it went until the time you decided to go and get tested.
Okay.
Then now, from there, we will move to the next segment. Maybe you can just
Sure.
face camera too,
Yeah.
directly, and then...
So what happened is, being a hotelier, I've worked in reservations management. That means something to do with front office, and also running other departments like housekeeping and what have you in a hotel. So I was in charge of that. So I've been working on contracts in South Sudan under Africa Expedition, which is under Lonro Africa. And so I've been in and out of South Sudan and Kenya. And so around 2018, I'd gotten another new contract from around June, the second week of June. Because normally what happens, our contracts were very short, but you know how passionate you are with your job determines how you get the next contract. So most of the time I used to be poached. So this time I was poached into a new different company. And I remember I went back to South Sudan, and then there was a challenge because the position that I was given, it was, the former person was a white person. And the guys who were in other positions couldn't understand why a lady had acquired that position and a black lady. So from the word go, it was very challenging, like working there. Everybody was trying to fight me because, you know, you're a lady, you're not supposed to be in such a position, because now I was a manager. And I remember my mom got sick in between there. And then at one point, the owner of the company was connected to somebody like in the government or something, and there was a lot of some money laundering, I think, that was going through the company that we didn't know. So the government started investigating the company. So there were also allegations that we were like to be closed down and what have you. So you can imagine a lot was happening between June 2018 and October 2018. So I didn't know I was unwell. So at that time, I used to take a lot of alcohol. So, you know, I'm trying to, you know, deal with my staff who have issues.
Dealing with the depression, we can call maybe
Yes.
depression because of job loss.
No, I've not lost my job. At that point, I'm being challenged because I'm a female employee who has a better position than the male, and I'm African. So why have I, you know, inherited somebody else's position? And who's a white person? Exactly. Like, yes. So there was a lot of challenges, and then my mom is unwell. And then now there is this thing of we are hearing we are going to lose our jobs. So I was drinking a lot. So it started by a very strong malaria. You know, in South Sudan we have tropical malaria. Si kama hii ya huku Kenya. That one, it gets you can even go mad or die. So I was treating malaria, which is very wrong. You know, when you're HIV positive and you're not on ARVs, the malarial drugs can really put you down. So I started being very unwell, and then being a place that's very hot. In my office, I used to use AC. So I started having chest issues, you know, running stomach. And, you know, funny enough, one of my junior staff would ask me, "Hey, madam, na hii homa haiponi and you losing your weight, are you okay?" So it started getting into me like something was very wrong, and I ignored. So fast forward in October, the company was shut down, and the accounts were frozen. You're coming back to Kenya. You don't know where to start. So I came. So that was, I think, the major issue that now affected me, because I landed in Kenya, and then I was in a relationship. And then I come to find out this relationship, there were other issues that were happening that I didn't know. So I think a lot started affecting me. Now I plunged myself into serious drinking.
What
Like,
do you mean, maybe, Vanessa, when you say that there's other issues were happening in this relationship? You as a counselor,
yeah,
HIV, HTC
yes,
nowadays,
yes,
counselor.
yes.
What do you mean by saying there were issues were
Normal
developed?
infidelity issues,
Okay,
yeah. You
okay.
know, of course, in marriages and in relationships, it's infidelity which is the biggest issue. So it was about infidelity issues, and I came to realize the person that I was living with was not the actual person that I knew. So I think that took toll on me, and I decided like
That was 2018.
yes, 2018 October, and because of that, towards November, I had to pull out of the relationship. Not pulling out necessarily, but walking out of the home
So what it means, you are in a relationship,
and
but the
living
time
with
that you are in
someone.
Kenya, you are not in Southern Sudan.
Yes.
You got in together. It's like you are living.
We were living even when I was in South Sudan. So it was, because normally when you have such senior positions, you're given like after every 2 months, you have 2 weeks. After 3 months, you have like a month at home. So it's easy to, juggle between the two.
Yeah.
So I was in a strong relationship. So, but you see, when you're far, you're not able to see things. But when you come back is when you realize things have been happening and you actually don't know things have been happening. So after I knew there were infidelity issues, I had to, and I was going through so much stress because I've lost my job, and, I decided to walk out of the home, and I went back to my sister's place first. Typically, sorry to say this, Kikuyus, we are very funny. Until somebody puts a ring on you, there's that your house that you live. You continue paying for it, even if you're living with someone, because we have this mentality: if anything happens, how do you start? So I had my spare house somewhere, but I went back to my sister's place first because I was not emotionally stable. So throughout November, I remember I'm telling you I'm plunging myself into a lot of drinking. And then December, I remember my sister had a function. And through that function, because being a firstborn, I take charge in everything, I lost a lot of weight because I couldn't eat. So now I was not losing like 5 kgs like before, but I was losing the 7 kgs, 10 kgs
Every month.
every month, and I'm not eating. Literally, I'm not eating completely. And I'm having these persistent headaches. There's still the malaria, there's, a running flu, and stuff. So after my sister's function, which was on 18th December 2018, I became very sick after that. So towards December, end of December, I'd reached a point I could not even take water without having a running stomach. Like, I could not stomach anything. My hair had started falling off. My weight was now very visible that there's something very wrong. At a point where people ask you, is there a problem? So I was at that point. So come January, I started asking myself and Googling, what are these signs that I have? Because at that point, I have no appetite, a running stomach, I'm shedding weight, I'm shedding hair. I have, opportunistic infections, many of them which are even sexually like STIs. I had lost. Okay. Normally, I'm short-sighted, but my vision was getting lost completely. I couldn't even see far with my glasses or my contact lenses. So at that point, I sat down. I called myself for a meeting. I'm this person who loves myself very much, and I don't like allowing something to put me down before I have control of it. So what I did the first week of January, I just sat down with myself and I said, you know what? I started Googling as a normal human being would do. So there's two signs that came were either cancer, because I had a very serious ulcer issues. So it was either cancer or HIV. So the good thing about the activists who were before is we already have this kind of awareness that you can live with HIV. So for me, I already knew, but at this point that I'm very sick, if I have cancer, then I'm going to die. But if I have HIV, I might be able to move. Yes. So the second week, I remember it was on 14th January 2019. I took myself to a clinic from Kitengela. I was scared of testing around, so I went to Athi River. There's a certain hospital, a private one that is. But when I reached there, as any other normal human being, I came back home. I couldn't handle it. I was so scared. And then that was on 14. On 15th, I became very sick. I couldn't get out of the bed. So I realized I only had another option of
That
trying.
was on 14th now.
14th. And then on 15th, I get very sick.
So on 14th, you went to the clinic?
And I came back.
You
I didn't
tested?
test. No.
Uh,
I reached there and I got scared and I came back.
okay.
So on 15th, I got very sick. So in the morning on 16th, I called my sisters. And I told them I'll get myself to the hospital, but kindly I need support. So you guys kindly come and support me. So we met at the hospital. I just went to the triage and I told them, you know what, I just want to do a HIV test. They were like, you need counseling? And I'm like, no. By the time I'm walking into the hospital, I'm mentally prepared. Let me have the counseling after. So my follower, we only three of us, my follower was very scared. So she decided to stay at the triage. And my last born sister walked with me inside the lab. So, you know, the lab technician will tell you, do you know how to read the rapid test kit? And then he explains. So we go ahead, you know, draw the blood and put on the kit. And then he's trying to talk to me and stuff. And when we were done, from reading, I could see I'm HIV positive. So he asked me, do you know what it means? And I'm like, yes, it's HIV positive. So I think because my reaction was calm, he thought maybe I'd flipped or I was in denial. So normally what happens, the first one that tests positive, there's another one. We have HIV-1 and HIV-2. HIV-1 is normally found in East Africa. So they have to determine which HIV you have. So we took another kit and they did a test and I was found with HIV-1, which is common in East Africa. It spreads very fast, but it doesn't kill that fast like the other one, which is HIV-2, which doesn't spread very fast. It's not that lethal, but when it kills you, it puts you down completely. So I tested positive for HIV-1. So now he's still thinking, my sister is crying, but I'm just calm. I think I was caught in between the shock and then I'm like, at least I don't have cancer. You know, I'm a strong natural. I've gone through, like I've been sick for 16 years. I've had a tumor. I've gone through three surgeries. So I think it has made me to be bold. So the doctor took me to a counselor. They took me through counseling. You know, there are those moments they ask you things like, do you know who infected you? And they need to, you know, contact persons and stuff. So we went through that process and they asked me, are you willing to start your medication today? Being somebody who loves myself, I was like, yes, I would want to just deal with this once and for all. So yeah, I started my medication immediately. They took my blood because they don't deal with HIV. They had to refer me to a fever level 4, whereby I had to do a CD4 count test. Yes, and after a week, it was determined my CD4 was 248.
That's after a week.
Yes, after a week. And
The CD4 was?
248, and it's supposed to, when it's at 200 and below, it's full-blown AIDS. So I was close to full-blown. At full-blown is where now all the TB and what have you, yes, because your immunity is at your lowest. Yeah, so that's when I just had to accept and, you know, move on. Yeah.
So when we come back, we shall be telling you the story. I'm telling you, this is Romy TV Africa with Dr.Robert Osoro at What is Your Story at Desmond Show with Nyari Assemble. You need to learn this. You need to hear this. She's a strong woman, I told you from the beginning. And she has a story to tell you. We are coming back after this short break. Don't dial that dial. Just remain there. Keep watching. Keep listening. We are coming back. Right, welcome back once again. Remember this Desmond show at Romy TV Africa with Dr.Robert Osoro. We are back after this short break. Now, it is her story. She's sharing with you. There is a road that which you need to learn. That there's life after testing, turning from one status to another. And this is what that we are here to hear. Nyar Assemble.
Yes.
Tulisema kwa that name, it looks sweet. It is a good name. You know, there is a way Luos keep calling that name. You hear they call Nyal Asembo. You see, but we are coming back there and we will be telling more about that Nyari assemble. But there is a story that we were talking about now. The prad has been taken to at river level 4 for CD4 check. That was 249 or 48?
249.
249.
Yeah.
But the normal CD4 should be?
No, nowadays, normally we don't work on CD4. We work on something called a viral load. That is the load of the virus in your system. I think maybe you've heard about something called undetectable equals untransmittable. So they deal with the viral load in your system. Like as at me at the moment, my viral load is at 0. I'm very HIV positive, but my load is at 0.
That's 0.
So it's like stagnant or dominant. I cannot infect, but it's still there. So normally we deal with that. So if it's like 50 copies and below, that is undetectable. If it's 1,000 millicopies and over, then that means you can transmit, and the load of the virus is very high. Yes, that's what we work
But
with
if you
nowadays.
go for a test, will it show that is there?
Yes, if I do even a rapid test, it's still very, like you can say I'm very HIV positive.
But the viral load is 0.
Yeah, you see the virus, I'm not cured. The virus is in the system, right? But the load of the virus has been suppressed because there's something we call adherence.
The
So-
adherence of the drugs.
Yes, so like for me, I started my medication immediately, and by July 2019, I was undetectable. So I've been undetectable since July 2019 because
That
I
means
adhere.
within the first 5 months,
Six-
since
almost
you
6
knew
months.
Your status,
Yes.
almost 6 months.
Yes.
You knew that your status.
Yes,
Immediately you started the
the ARVs.
the LVs,
Yes.
and you dared to them.
Yes, I adhered.
So that put you to
Undetectable level.
undetectable.
Yes, but
So-
it takes a lot of diligence and discipline.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me ask this. We are talking about now that you thought that you've been infected before we go there about because there's something that someone who is watching here needs to hear about how to adhere to drugs, how to be consistent.
Yes.
How, people don't understand that we have different types of HIV.
Yes.
People don't understand there's reinfection.
Yes.
And these are what that we are going to hear from you for
Yeah.
someone that is watching us for the first time. But I want to take you back to like now you have tested positive. Yes, psychologically you have been prepared that this might be true. Either I'm HIV positive or I am cancer.
Yes.
But now let's go like to you. You saw like lucky enough. I'm not in cancer because it will put me down.
Yes.
But even nowadays, people do live. We have seen, for example, of our Professor Nyang Nyong.
Yes.
He was cancer and still is living. He's even now going to finish his second term of being a governor of Kisumu. But now, does it mean that that is at least that's a defense mechanism that which you had that at least I'm not in cancer, but I am in HIV, that which I can use the drugs, and if I dare, my viral load can go to 0 and I can survive?
Of course, any human being will have the fear of the unknown, because at that point you're very sick, you can't eat, you can't do anything. So you don't even know if you start taking the drugs that you will even survive. So any human being will go through that part of what happens. But I didn't go through the denial. Personally, I've never gone
Or
through.
the first thing is like you
Most
are
people
prepared
go through,
psychologically.
yes, because you see, by the time I took myself to the hospital, I didn't go to the hospital and the doctor asked me for a test. In my mind, I knew something was very wrong. So by the time I went there, psychologically, I'm very prepared. But as I said, because there were activists and advocates before, if you're somebody who digs in deep into social media, you'll have a little low knowledge.
Is it the knowledge that
Yes.
you are getting from the social
Yes.
media that which kept you that courage?
Yes.
That they have been living.
Like
for
someone
years,
like Doreen
like
was born with
Doreen,
it.
who has been over that years.
Exactly. So when you see Doreen, I mean, in your mind, if I work hard. So for me, it was Doreen and Percy Matreva that had followed even before. And there was another one called Simaloi Shompa. She's in the US right now. So because I was following them, at least I had an idea that it can actually work. So I knew it was just the support system and my part and adherence. But of course, I went through that. There's that day you break down and you like, why has it happened to me? And then you move from that and you're like, now I need to just accept and work hard, and especially from, the virus is very high in your system. So the first 1 to 3 months, the virus is fighting the medication. So your body becomes the casualty. So there are incidences, because actually the drug that I'm taking now is a wonder drug. Whatever I was taking before and it was phased out because it was giving us hallucinations. So you're fighting hallucinations at night. At the same time, at times you get very sick, you get shocks and stuff. So it's not easy the first 3 months, but once you overcome that and your appetite is back, you just adapt now to the new life and you just move on.
So what is difficult there is the first 3 months to overcome because of the drugs fighting the virus,
Yes.
virus fighting back.
Yeah, and depending on the drug, because now we were taking a different drug before, which had side effects. But the drug that we are taking now has very minimal, whatever we've been switched to. It's called a wonder drug, it's called TLD, and it's very effective. And it has you don't get hallucinations. I think for me, the only thing I've experienced is insomnia, lack of sleep.
What do you mean when we talk about hallucinations?
Like you're sleeping and you start seeing like aliens, ghosts, you wake up shouting, imaginary things.
Imaginary things.
Yes, imaginary
Is it
scary
the
things.
drugs which was causing that?
Yes, it was the drugs, and that's why it was phased out. That particular drug has been phased out.
So
Nobody's taking it. Nobody.
Does not, exist.
No. Yes.
Now, let me take you back. Maybe this time that you have gone to hospital, you have tested, and then now, as much as that psychologically you are prepared as any human being, that's why the first time on 14th of January when you went to the hospital, you again thought, of course, you are prepared to go to the hospital.
Yes.
But again, you thought of like, no. And you went back to the house.
Yes.
And on 15th, you were down.
Yes.
Because now, the thoughts that went through your mind all throughout the night
Yes.
and all, actually, because I think many people have been brought down because of a non-fear.
Yes.
Because you see, and I've seen many people that think that they are HIV positive and even live a reckless life knowing that. But by the time they're going for the test, they realize that even they were not. Now, my question comes here. Maybe when you tested like HIV positive, did you thought like, who is this? Maybe has infected me? Did you have that anger? Something like that? Or did you do any backtrack?
Of course, normally, and especially when you test positive, the first counseling that you get, even if they're as much as they're counseling you to accept and what have you, they need to keep contact tracing of, can you be able to know if this person has it? Can this person come and test so that they cut the link between other people and the person who's infected? So of course there was that in my mind, and I of course went back, but you see there's one mistake that I did. And I'm a person who believes in owning your mistakes and learning from your mistakes. And that is a major reason that made me go public. That is the major reason, because we have this mentality of kupima na macho. You will get into a relationship, people are healthy, and you assume everybody's healthy, and you move towards on with the relationship, and you get caught, because my scenario, I was in a previous long relationship, and then I move in with somebody else. We didn't test. We pimaed na macho. You start using protection, and at a point you just get used to. So you don't know at some point if it was the previous person or the current person. And that is the reason as to why I had to go public and tell people, you know what, this thing is real. Let's not just look at people and assume they're very healthy and they're not. Okay, so I did a contact tracing, and we dealt with the issue as per how it was supposed to be dealt with.